Last season, Rotherham United avoided relegation from the Championship for the first time in 4 attempts. However, as the 2023-24 season reaches its business end, the South Yorkshire club is firmly entrenched in the mire. They are currently rock bottom of the table and have just picked up 3 wins all season at the time of recording. Today we will take over as Rotherham manager to try and keep them in the division and attempt to build towards promotion to the Premier League. So guys, here we are diving in as Rotherham manager. Yes, we are at the New York Stadium. We've got our kits and all that good stuff. We are former League One champions, former League Two champions, 2-time EFL trophy holders as well. But obviously this club is not doing very well in real life, and we're going to try and fix that here today. Obviously looking at the facilities are relatively all right for the level. I would hope for better, but it's not probably going to happen. 10 for training facilities, 6 for youth facilities, 7 for academy coaching, and 4 for youth recruitment. Now these run like player attributes as well, so they only go up to 20, so you can kind of see the training facilities are smack bang in the middle. They're all right, they're not awful. It's basically what we're going to have to work with. Also, what we're going to have to work with is the current Rotherham squad. We are on a real world database, so any transfers that have been made will be happening as you would expect. And the team is looking all right. I mean, our best player is our goalkeeper, which I'm not actually too sad about. Victor Johannesson, he looks pretty solid actually for this level and could definitely make the step up to the Premier League as well. We've also got Cafu here in the midfield, bit of a journeyman, obviously coming from Nottingham Forest, but looks again very well rounded for the level. And you can see some of the other players that we do have. Humphreys is pretty solid as well. Tyler Blackett is also pretty good as well. So this team is okay. And as I mentioned, we've got several players coming in. Sam Nombi is kind of one of the key ones, obviously coming in just before deadline day. So we're going to have to get him accustomed, along with some of these others that we do have coming in. Now, we need a tactic for this year and for this rebuild. And I wanted to use GYR's Master of Puppets. Now, obviously, there has been an update come out with the winter data update. So we're going to try this one. This is the first 4-3-3 that we tried. I want to see if it works on this match engine. I want to see how it goes. And this will be a test of time. See how it works. See if it works well. This is how it looks with the best 11 in it right now. Obviously, we're not going to have this guy because he is out on loan at Peterborough. So loaning a player to a team in our division. Oh, sorry, team. They're not in our division, are they? No, they're the division below. That's silly. Either way, that's even worse, loaning a player out to a team in the division below. Sub-ideal. But this is the team and how things look going into the season. Okay, but not spectacular. So we're going to have to see how we can do. Obviously, competitions-wise, we have these 3 competitions on our schedule this year. The Championship is going to be our bread and butter. The board expectation is to actually avoid that relegation. And if we look at the Sky Bet Championship and take a look at the season preview, yes, we are predicted to finish stone dead last, 250-1. And then the next best team is Plymouth Argyle, who are sat at 200-1. So some very interesting stuff going on this season. Obviously, we do have the still likes of relegated Leicester, Southampton, Leeds United, and all of that good stuff. But I'd like to think that we can do okay. I'll be relying on our goalkeeper. I'll be relying on Cafu to kind of push us forward. We're going to simulate the whole season and then hopefully come back with a nice season review so that you guys can get up to speed with what happened. Our sole focus this season was survival in the Championship, and that is just as well because our cup competition performance was absolutely woeful. We did make it out of the first round of the EFL Cup, defeating Derby before losing on the road to fellow Championship side Huddersfield in the second round. In the FA Cup, we beat Leeds and Coventry to move into the 5th round before getting beaten at home by League One Oxford United, which is a big frustration because a quarter-final appearance for a club like Rotherham could have been absolutely huge financially. However, our bread and butter would be the Championship, and we faltered at the start of the season, losing 2 of our opening 3 games before beating Leicester, which was a huge surprise. That result sparked an impressive run where we gathered 36 points from our next 16 games going into the festive period. Our key man for the season was former Exeter City striker Sam Nombi, who bagged an impressive 19 league goals in his first season with the club. Moving into 2024, we really struggled to hit the heights of that early season form, but finished the season with a flourish of 4 wins on the spin to see us sneak into the playoffs on the final day of the season. So we got into the playoffs and we were going to take on Leeds United. Now, Leeds finished the season on 101 points and didn't get promoted, but we had to try and take advantage of the situation that we found ourselves in. We were at home in the first leg and got off to a great start, taking the lead in the first half after a little bit of pinball inside the Leeds penalty area. And to my surprise, we doubled our lead in the second half as Arvin Appiah was able to tap in from close range. But sadly, as the clock hit the 90th minute, Leeds did pull a goal back to give them more than a lifeline going into the second leg at Ellen Road. This second leg was a little bit more like what I was expecting, as Leeds really came to play in their home stadium and absolutely battered us from start to finish to ultimately win the game 5-0 on the night, therefore winning the tie 6-2. So we weren't able to take advantage of that situation and get ourselves into the richest game in football, but we were definitely punching above our weight, finishing in 6th in the championship table. For those interested, Leeds didn't even get promoted in the end, losing the playoff final at Wembley to Middlesbrough 2-0. So we will be facing them again next season after I've been allowed to put my firm stamp on the team. With our league finish, the board gave me a transfer budget of just over £1 million, which I'll be moving all of it into my wage budget to look to sign the best free agents out there. So kicking things off with our transfer update for season number 2, we've had several players leave us, 4 to be precise, of totaling just under £1 million, which has added extra money to our transfer kitty and allowed me to slide a little bit more over and get us some of those free agents, which I will talk about in a second. Some of the major outgoings is Christ T. High, is how I'm going to butcher this poor man's name. He's gone over to Plymouth Argyle. Didn't really play an abundance for us last season. Got 18 appearances in the league, 16 of those coming as a substitute. So you can kind of see why he wasn't firmly wanted. He was unhappy as well. He departed to Plymouth Argyle for an initial 550k, which is good for me. Tom Eaves has departed the club as well. Definitely on the older side, age 32. Not really going to get into the team and improve us as a striker. He went to Leyton Orient for free. Georgie Kelly has departed. He's gone to Salford as well. Another striker who probably won't get into the team, to be perfectly honest. So happy to move him on and get a little bit of coin for him as well. 325k for him. And then Dylan Phillips, a backup goalkeeper, has gone to Oxford United, the team that beat us in the cup last season. But again, he's not going to get into the team past Johannesson, so it makes good sense to move him on. Now, Jensen Weir is a first player coming in. He's bounced around a lot of clubs on loan, but he is was a Brighton and Hove Albion player. He's come in having spent last season on loan at Blackpool in League One, and he looks pretty well rounded for our central midfield, can kind of do a little bit of everything, which is exactly what we need for those central midfield spots. He comes in on a free transfer. All of these are free transfers, guys. Then next we sign Peli Raduk and Panzu, a man who loves to get himself promoted. Obviously the Luton Luton long servant who's been there most of his career, to be perfectly honest. Luton let him go, which is disappointing for us. Well, not disappointing for us because we've picked him up. He's come in to be our new boss in central midfield, 30 years of age. He's done it all, even last season in the Premier League, 18 appearances for him. Obviously, Luton didn't do very well in the Premier League, I don't think. How did they get on? How did Luton do in the Premier League? Yeah, finish last. So he will be taking on his former side this season, and hopefully he can add us a little bit more meat in that central midfield. We've also signed Kader Bamba, who can play on the left-hand side, can also play on the right-hand side. Nice little wing option for us coming in from Nantes over in France, again on a free transfer, having not really played an abundance for them last season in Liga, but making most of his appearances as a substitute. So I think he can do a little bit of damage for us on the wings in the Championship. And we've signed Jakob Sorensen, again another player coming out of Norwich. He is a defensive midfielder, and at 6 foot, I think he can add a lot for us in that defensive midfield position to anchor our midfield 3. And then finally, we picked up this guy, Lyko Yanis is how I'm going to butcher this guy's name. Has been a bit of a journeyman. This one actually has been a bit of a journeyman. Has finished over in Bologna after a season. Didn't really play for them too much last year, so he's coming to join us to be our new first choice left back. 16 crossing on him. I'm really thinking we can use that, along with the fact that he's 6'3", so he's hopefully not going to concede some of those far post headers. He's got 6 caps for Greece as well. We've had to allocate an ESC spot for him, but I think he's a good pickup for us nonetheless. And we do have 2 players who we are still trying to get in on loan. Liam Delap turned us down, which is devastating, but we are trying to sign 2 guys from the Eredivisie. Shaquille Van Persie, obviously Robin Van Persie's kid. He looks very good, can be very good in the Championship. As you can see, he's wanted by Birmingham, Charlton, Oxford, Portsmouth, Wigan. Hopefully we can land him. The deal hasn't been done yet. The contract is currently still with them. Hopefully we can get him in, and we're going for Sky Vink as well. This guy is phenomenal in this year's game if you've not used him. Obviously part of the Ajax youth setup, looks pretty good already, aged 18. He's been capped by the Dutch under-19s team as well. Hopefully he can come in, and having these 2 as options up front, despite being very, very young, could be pretty good, because if we quick pick without restriction our best 11 for the season, you can see where we're struggling. We've got this guy Adrian Balboa on loan. He'd be an interesting on trial. He'd be an interesting option. Tyrese John Jules would be fantastic, but he wants £30,000 a week, so that won't be happening. So that's why we've dipped into the loan market. Competitions wise, we have the same stuff on our plate this season. We kick off the Carabao Cup or EFL Cup with a fixture against Hull City, which is fine, not the end of the world. We also have the Championship, where we're expected to fight bravely against relegation yet again. If we take a look at the season preview, Crystal Palace, Burnley and Luton were part of the teams relegated, so we've still got Leeds, we've still got Southampton, we've still got Ipswich, West Brom, Blackburn, Watford, Sunderland, Birmingham. There's big Stoke, there's big teams in this division, guys. There's big teams in this division. We're now 50-1 to win the title, so infinitely better than we were last season. But that Palace team is still predicted so much better than any of the teams from last season, so it's going to be tough to break into these top spots. But we fought valiantly last season, getting inside the top 6, so hopefully we can do it again. Maybe another playoff run, maybe we can get ourselves to Wembley. That would be a remarkable season this time around. And for a second season in a row, we failed to impress in the domestic cups. After defeating Hull and Burnley in the early rounds of the EFL Cup, we then sadly suffered a home defeat to Liverpool on penalties after a 1-1 draw. And in the FA Cup this season, we didn't even make it out of the 3rd round, losing a replay to now Premier League Leicester City at home. However, the Championship was a very different story. This season, we made a remarkable start to the campaign, only suffering a single defeat in 2024. That was coming on the road to Plymouth Argyle. This was largely down to the performances of our 2 loan signings from the Eredivisie, as Shaquille Van Persie scored 18 league goals this season, and Sky Vink provided 18 goals himself, along with 6 assists. Following the turn of the year, we were still impressive, but not as good as the first half of the season. But we were already in a position to succeed. Whilst we didn't win the league this season, we did score a massive 100 points and finish 2nd, meaning we will be playing Premier League football for Season 3. Leeds won the league with a whopping 109 points, and Sunderland won the playoff final, beating Wayne Rooney's Birmingham. Oh, also I have to give a massive shout out to Southampton big man Paul Onuachu, who scored a remarkable 47 goals in the Championship, but still they didn't manage to get promoted. Moving into the summer, the Premier League money has hit our transfer budget, as we have just over £34 million to spend on improving this side, but I'm going to have to be sensible with it to avoid us coming straight back down. So we have the biggest transfer window known to man going into the Premier League after being promoted from the Championship, and we've done some business. It's on the screen right now. You can kind of see some of the moves that we have done. We've managed to get ourselves an extra £9.25 million in the transfer budget. Hakeem Odofin has departed the club. He's gone to my team, actually, the team that I support, Bristol City. They paid some money for him. Barely played for us last season. Oh, sorry, I lie. He played lots for us last season, but 26 appearances in all competitions coming from the substitutes bench. So when Bristol City offered 4.4 million for him, I thought that was a good deal for us. And we also sold the left back that we had last season. We'll talk about why in just a sec, but we sold him over to Angers over in France for £5 million. So an extra 9.25 million to top up that transfer kitty. We spent some money on some players. We also got some players in for free. I'm going to go through them now, and hopefully you can kind of see the work that we have done. So first of all, let's talk about the ones that cost us money. Tobias Gullikson comes in from Bodo Glimt, the Norwegian youth player. He is very good in this year's game. Can play as central midfield. I want him to play out on the wing. He's got an ESC place because he's not played enough for Norway yet, but he's getting caps, and obviously we're a Premier League team now, so hopefully that will pick up. Paid £6 million to Bodo Glimt for him. On the other side, we picked up former Bristol City man Antoine Semenyo. He wasn't getting game time at Bournemouth. He was transfer listed, so we picked him up. He can play in 3 key positions for us in our 4-3-3. So for me, it was a no-brainer, and I know what Antoine can bring to the team. We paid £3.5 million for him. As I said, player who can play in 3 key positions is really, really good and very versatile. Keenan Davies, the former Aston Villa striker, came in. He was at Udinese actually, and we paid 825k for him, having not played a minute in the Serie A last season. So hopefully he can be a depth option. That's all I want him to be. He's a squad player for us. Hopefully he can add a little bit more presence if we need it. He's 6'3", he's big, he's strong, so a different option for us up top. And then finally 550k on this guy, Gaitan Perin. Again, can play on both wings, versatile option for us. Squad depth is going to be a big one this season. Obviously playing in the Premier League against some of these massive squads, massive teams, is going to be very vital for us. And then we'll move into the free transfers. Lucas Perrin comes in. He is a starting choice centre-back for us now, obviously having been released from Strasbourg. A very good step up for us, to be perfectly honest. A nice, good option in that centre-back spot. Can also play in CDM as well. I'd not noticed that until now. But at 6'2", stays back at all times. That's kind of what we need for our centre-backs. We also picked up Jamal Lewis. He'd been released by Newcastle. He is our new left-back. This is why we let the Greek lad go, because we picked up Jamal Lewis. I think he's a better player, younger, and the fact that he's already played in the Premier League, I think, is a perfect fit for us at this time. Natural fitness of 18, 16 on that stamina is exactly what I want in that wing-back spot. We picked up Carl Jacob Hein. He is a backup goalkeeper for us, coming in from Arsenal. We needed squad depth in that goalkeeper position. You know what it's like this year. It happens all the time. The players moan about the squad depth at the goalkeeper position. He's a good one for us to have, having not really played much for Arsenal. He was released as well, so another free transfer. Seiler comes in as a very well-rounded option for us in midfield. He's been released by a team in Portugal. 17 penalty taken, high long shot attribute, high first touch and dribbling and stuff like that. We're actually going to play him in the central midfield spot, but I think he still has all the attributes for that, despite being 5'7". He's now valued at 28 to 33 million pounds for a player we picked up on a free transfer. So that is the way to do business in this game. This is the one I'm the most happy with. Charlie Patino comes in. Obviously, you guys know him. He's a former Arsenal player. Has spent time on loan at Blackpool. He spent time on loan at Swansea. I think he can be the mainstay of our midfield, the main focal point of our midfield for the remainder of this rebuild. Capped at England under 20 level. He's 21 years of age. Hopefully we can push him on a little bit more. We also picked up Will Fish as well as another centre-back, having been released by Manchester United. Good options all around. Much more squad depth than we have had previously. And we've got Anjourn in as well, in former Chelsea man. Obviously can play in lots of key positions for us. Central midfield, can play wide right, wide left as well if we need him to. He's quite physical, quite fast as well, 15 pace and 15 acceleration, along with the 14 finishing. I think he's a definite good creative option for us in that midfield. So with these 11 players that we have managed to bring in, if we quick pick without restriction our best 11, this is how we are looking for the season. I also renewed Shaquille Van Persie's loan for another season. I let Vink go back to Ajax because they wanted more money for him, but we've kept Shaquille Van Persie here for another season. As I said, he had a fantastic year for us in the Championship. Can he transition to being in the Premier League? Only time will tell. This is the team going into the season though. Big change up from what we have had before. Kyoso is actually back from his loan and is currently playing at right back. I'm actually going to swap Johannesson in for Hein, I think. So this will probably be the team. So Johannesson, Kyoso and Blackett are the only original players in our starting 11 right now. We still do have Humphreys, Sam Nombi's still here, Rathbone, etc. So we've got some players who are still here, but it's going to be an interesting one to see if we can survive in the Premier League. These are the competitions we do have yet again. Again, domestic cups, I'm really not worried about them. The goal is survival in this Premier League this season. If we take a look at the season preview, of course we're 1,000 to 1 to survive. That's no real shock. The other two promoted teams, Leeds and Sunderland, expected to fare much better. If we can finish in 17th, that is all good for me. No major transfers into this Media Dream 11 that I have seen yet, but we will keep an eye on it, because hopefully we can survive and hopefully we can stay established as a Premier League team, because financially it means so much. Let's simulate the season, get into the season recap. So obviously our main goal this season was Premier League survival, and I knew it would be a very tough ask. We started the season by getting thumped by Chelsea and Manchester United, but did manage to pick up a valuable 3 points against Everton. If we were to survive, we needed to be good at home, and actually picked up several wins throughout the course of the season, even beating the likes of Arsenal and Spurs. The Premier League came a little bit too early for young Shaquille Van Persie, who really struggled to adapt to the level and only scored 6 Premier League goals all season. Key man for us this season was summer signing Charlie Patino, who we picked up on a free transfer. He made 36 Premier League appearances for us this season and has developed nicely as a player. He's now wanted by Schalke and Hertha Berlin, but I'm hoping that we can hold on to him over the summer. In the second half of the season, our home form continued to be impressive, picking up victories against West Ham, Fulham, Sunderland, Aston Villa and Leicester. This was so many more wins than I thought we'd get in this season, meaning we actually finished in 14th with 43 points, just 4 points behind Manchester United. And we also had marginal improvements in the cup competitions as well. In the EFL Cup, we managed to dispatch Middlesbrough, Barnsley and Everton to set up a quarter-final against Liverpool. They rotated heavily for this game, but were still the superior side, getting a goal in each half through youngsters Ben Doak and Harvey Elliott. But this is the furthest we've got in the competition, so I'm definitely going to celebrate it. In the FA Cup, we defeated Barnsley in the third round before losing to West Ham at the London Stadium in the fourth round. I cannot begin to explain how happy I am with how this season has gone in the Premier League, and that survival means one thing: another influx of cash. We've got just over £37 million to spend on this team, and we have £40 million in the bank, so I've already got my requests in to improve the facilities, and the board have decided they want to expand the stadium as well. So happy days. So guys, before we go into season number 4, there are a couple of transfers that I forgot to mention in my season recap, so I'm going to cover them now. We signed them in January, and they are the ones highlighted at the bottom of your screen. Riccardo Calafiori has come in to be a new centre-back for us. He came in from Bologna, can play centre-back, can play left-back for us. He was very good in the second half of the season. Sufnat Muyanta is another one. If you've not signed this guy yet, young Thai international forward. He can do everything that you need him to do as a centre forward. Yes, okay, he's small, he can't head the ball, but he's quick, he's agile, he can put the ball in the back of the net, and he's dirt cheap. We paid 975k for him, and I'm just going to talk about him super quickly, because last season he got 5 goals in 17 appearances in the Premier League, which as a transition season for a January signing, I was quite happy with. And then the last one, Sunusi Bar, he came in from the Bundesliga. Again, another left back, right back option. Versatility is key for us here. The fact that he can play on both sides, he's both footed, is superb for us. He came in from Bayer Leverkusen for £3.9 million. And now we get into this summer's business, because we've been a little bit active, but not got loads of names coming in. Iliax Moriba comes in. I don't understand the fall off of this guy. Former Barcelona player, went over to RB Leipzig, hasn't really cut it there. They released him, having not played at all for them last season. We picked him up on a free. Maybe see if we can revive his career. Can play centre mid, can play centre defensive mid as well. Maybe we can revive his career, who knows. Then we've started using my Wonderkid Finder filter. If you've not seen me use this before, I've got a video on it. I'll leave the link to that down in the description. But it basically helps me identify the best potential new gens in the world of Football Manager once they start coming in, and that is how we've signed this guy, Filip Babic. He was highlighted to me playing for a team over in Croatia. We paid £2 million for him, and this is what he looks like: 16 finishing, 16 first touch, 15 passing. He looks great already, and we are able to pick him up for dirt cheap with this filter. We also got Carlos Amarilla. He comes in as well, another great option for this central midfield place. High decision making is really key for me on this one. The 16 decision, 16 acceleration, the fact that he's He's 6'1" as well. Dictates tempo, perfect for us. He comes in from Vélez, having never kicked a ball for them professionally. £5.75 million, having spent 2 years in their academy. But we did sign some real players as well. Neta Lavi, he comes in from Gamba Osaka over in Japan. Defensive midfielder for us. This is where I want him to play. Defensive midfielder, 15 tackling, high passing, high marking attributes as well. Good positioning, Israeli international. A little bit more experience in his career is kind of what I was looking for here. And then we also picked up Bryce Owembangomo, is how I'm going to butcher this guy's name. He is a right back by trade, guys. He's very strong on the right foot, can play at left back as well. Look how fast he is. 18 acceleration, 17 pace, high agility, high balance, high natural fitness. I think as a substitute, I think he could be very good. I don't expect him to start many games for us because he can't really cross it. 9. His tackling, his marking is okay, passable, but not really of a Premier League standard. But I think coming on as a substitute, if we try to overload that right-hand side with that pace, he could be a massive problem. We also do have one player that we've already signed who hasn't joined us yet because he's not old enough. That's this guy, Dennis Mollard. This is the one I'm most happy with. He's coming in from Sochaux. He is going to transfer at the end of the season. In January once he's old enough. But I think with his 20 determination, this guy's going to be a monster. I don't know how much he's going to play for us right away. We might have to loan him out, but I think for the season he's going to be very, very good for us. So we'll keep an eye on Dennis Mollard once he comes in. Obviously, we do have the same 3 competitions this season. Nothing vastly changing there. On the field, though, things are changing quite a bit. If we quick pick without restriction our best 11, you can see Lavi's come in there. Muyanta's holding that spot down in that centre forward spot. Calafiori is coming at centre back. So I think we're quite solid here. Lewis and Lavi are both 4-star players in this team. Patino is a 3.5 star. He's also wanted by teams in the Bundesliga. So we're going to hope that we can hold on to him. But that is how we are ready to rock and roll this season. Premier League wise, if we take a look at the season preview, we are still 1,000 to 1 to win the title. I'm not expecting us to do that, but we've been joined in the league by Crystal Palace, Ipswich and Luton Town. So it's going to be an interesting one this year. Some big teams are going to get relegated this year. I can feel it. We might be one of them. But we're going to have to simulate the season and see how we get on, of course. We started Season 4 in the Premier League with an amazing run to kick off the year. Victories against the likes of Aston Villa and Tottenham were key highlights as we picked up 16 points from the first 21 available. This season showed that we have made real progress with our recruitment as November saw us beat Brighton, Newcastle and Arsenal without even conceding a goal. Key man for us this season was Soufniat Muyanta, who was our top goal scorer for the club, contributing 11 goals and 4 assists in the Premier League. Diving into the data, considering the amount of chances we actually created for him as a team, he's performing well above the average for non-penalty expected goals per 90 minutes. Another key highlight was former Bristol City man Antoine Semenyo, who provided 15 Premier League goal contributions from the wing in another good season for the club. After the turn of the year, we didn't get as many wins as we had in the first half of the season, but there was plenty of green in our fixture list to make me feel super positive in the strides that we've taken. We even managed to pick up a remarkable 2-1 win against Manchester City at the Etihad, restricting them to just 2 shots on target in the whole game. And those results really saw us improve on last season's 14th place finish. So much so that we managed to finish the year in 7th place and qualify for next season's Europa League. It will come as no surprise that we didn't set the world alight in the domestic cup competitions this season, as we were knocked out of both competitions by lower league opposition. But honestly, I don't care, because Rotherham are going to be playing continental football next season. The extra games are going to be a bit of an issue for us from a squad depth perspective, as we really need to improve the base level of this squad's ability. We have a transfer budget of just over £72 million to make that happen, so let's get into the transfer market. So guys, we've been very active going into the transfer market, as you would expect in a season number 5. However, one of our star players has been sold. Charlie Patino has departed to Aston Villa for £12.25 million. He wanted to play at a bigger team, and who are we to stop him, I guess, going to Aston Villa. I think they're in the Champions League this year. They paid £12.25 million for him. He's been great for us ever since we signed him in the 2 seasons in the Premier League. He's not really set the world alight in terms of his rating, but has been a mainstay, played loads of the games, and he's developed pretty nicely as a footballer, but he wanted to go to a bigger club. Sanusi Bar has also departed. He's gone over to Torino in Italy. We had a nice quick flip on him. We paid £3.9 million to Bayer Leverkusen for his services. Only got 9 appearances for us in the Premier League. 7 of those were sub appearances, and we've managed to sell him for £9 million over to Torino. Now, on the incoming side of things, we've been active, £71 million spent, and a bulk of that, if I organise by price, has been spent on this man. Kelleher comes in as our new goalkeeper for the season. Obviously, he was transfer listed by Liverpool, and I'm ready for him to take over as our number 1. Good aerial reach, good one-on-ones, good reflexes. Obviously, has been the understudy to Alisson for a long time. Experienced international footballer, 28 years of age. I think he will really, really help. He cost us £27 million from Liverpool, but I think is a massive step up for us. We also signed Casadei from Chelsea as well for £18 million. Super well-rounded, this guy. He's just not played anywhere near enough football. Obviously, the last couple of seasons he's been at Chelsea, barely played in the Premier League, barely got any competitive appearances, so hasn't really developed to the footballer that I know he can be in this year's game. So we're going to try him. He's got 1 cap for Italy with 1 goal. Hopefully with us in the midfield, he can kind of improve on that. Then we started on the new gens again, as you kind of would expect. Patrick Coupens comes in from Belgium. Again, super well-rounded, high vision, 18 vision on a guy with 16 passing and 16 technique. Mwah. Yes, please, chef's kiss. Listed as our wonder kid. We're looking forward to seeing what he can do and develop in our midfield. Sebastian Gonzalez is another one. We signed a lot of midfielders here. I don't know how many of them are actually going to play, but this guy is supremely well-rounded physically and mentally. Needs a little bit more work technically, but looks like a good little player. We paid £7.25 million for him. He's now valued at 15 to 20, so it feels like it's a good bit of money well spent. Then we've got this guy. It's actually real. Wally Egili comes in from Nordsjælland, another Norwegian. We like the Norwegians on this channel. High pace and acceleration and stuff like that, and makes him a danger with that 16 dribbling as a wing option for us. £4.6 million coming over from the Danish Superliga, so we'll take that as well. This is the one that I'm probably the most proud of, Emerson Morales. Now, this guy looks like he could be an absolute stud. Coming in from America de Cali over in Colombia. He's a Colombian international, age 19. 18 balance, 18 bravery, defending attributes exactly where you want them, even with 16 passing. He's 6'4", plays no through balls and stays back at all times. He's a no-nonsense defender, and I am in love with him already. I think he's fantastic. We paid hardly anything for him. £3 million was his minimum fee release clause. Having paid 2 full seasons at America de Cali over in Colombia, he's now valued at 37 to 41 million pounds, guys. So bringing him over to the Premier League seems like a good option for us. And then finally, Nemanja Kocic is how I'm going to say this guy's name. Supremely well-rounded in that midfield. Yet again, 17 technique, 19 determination, good bravery. This guy's a Serbian youth international, sorry. And again, looks like a very good player for us. Again, some of these guys start, some of these are going to be flipped around for more money, but that's the way you play the game. This is going to be the starting team for this season. Obviously, Kelleher comes in, Morales comes in, which you love to see. Casadei comes in as well. And it's going to be a debut season for Mollard. He is looking like he is ready for football. He is listed as a wonder kid, this French youth international, having arrived from Sochaux. Hasn't played a kick for us this season, and he's going to start in the Premier League. So he was out on loan in Ligue 2 last season, did pretty well, averaged over a 7. Now it's time for him to step up and step in. We've given him the number 7 shirt. Time for him to do the business. Competitions wise, obviously, we've somehow managed to get our way into the Europa League. I don't understand it. We're going to see what happens here. The other cup competitions, we're going to see. Premier League survival, also a must as per usual. We're now 350 to 1 to win the division. Despite being in the Europa League, we're still predicted to finish in 18th, below promoted sides Nottingham Forest and Leeds United. So it's going to be an interesting one to see what we can do. Lots of changes, lots of players that are ready to kick on, but we've got a lot of experience, a lot of money invested in the youth prospects that we've got in this team, and hopefully that wonder kid finder can do us some good. Let's get into the season 5 final recap. Kicking things off with the EFL Cup, we had a fantastic start to this competition this season, knocking out Newcastle United on penalties before dominating Charlton on the road. This set up a quarter-final tie with Liverpool, and the game would be played at Anfield, but the Reds rotated massively and we were able to take advantage of the situation, picking up a 1-0 win with Muanta getting on the score sheet. So we moved into the two-legged semi-final where we would take on to the lead in the first half. In the second leg, Arsenal extended their lead through a Cody Gakpo free kick, but then saw Reece Nelson receive a straight red card on 21 minutes. Despite being down to 10 men, Arsenal scored their third goal of the tie through William Saliba, but then finally having that extra man really did help us as we were able to play our way back into the game with goals from Muanta, Calafiori and Gonzalez to win the tie 4-3 on aggregate and move into the final. After this run, we had to face the final boss of Manchester City, and we didn't give a great account of ourselves here, losing this game 1-0 to an Erling Haaland penalty, but we didn't really impress in the game at all. And sadly for us, that didn't translate into our FA Cup performances as we beat Ipswich Town and Burnley before Liverpool getting their own back on us in the 5th round by knocking us out at Anfield on penalties. As expected, the extra fixtures from cup competitions caused us problems this season in the Premier League. It was a rough start to the year, losing 2 of our opening 3 games before beating Leeds United at home to record our first win. Our problem this season was wild inconsistency, shown in October by beating Arsenal and Spurs, but then losing to Everton all within the same month. But we picked up enough victories for us to clearly avoid the relegation battle this season. Top performer again for us this season was Antoine Semenyo, who was our top goal scorer in the Premier League with 10 goals, and he also provided 6 assists. This season also saw the real emergence of French wonderkid Denis Mollard, who had 47 starts for us this season in all competitions, and he managed to bag 10 goals and provide 18 assists. Not bad for a debut season in England for a 19-year-old. After the festive period, things did pick up for us and the younger players started to become a bit more adjusted to the Rotherham way. However, that rocky form at the start of the season did see us finish in 10th in the Premier League table. But the eagle-eyed of you will have noticed that we will be playing Champions League football next season. I think you know what happened here. Our Europa League phase fixtures were almost perfect, only dropping points in France as we took on Lyon to finish 2nd in the table just behind Chelsea. This meant that we had a round of 16 tie where we would take on Belgian side Genk. The first leg took place in Belgium and we took the lead twice in this game, but Genk refused to roll over, scoring 2 goals of their own to see the game end in a 2-2 draw. And back in Rotherham, we were able to assert our financial dominance, running out comfortable winners despite the scoreline being closer than it should have been. This set up a quarter-final tie against Fiorentina, and again the first leg would be on the road. The Italian side started stronger in this one with Nikola Milenkovic and Richarlison getting 2 goals for them inside the first half. With 5 minutes of the game remaining, Tobias Gullikson was able to give us a lifeline with his goal to give us a chance in the second leg. At Fortress New York Stadium, we were able to overturn a first leg deficit thanks to goals from Carlos Amarilla and a Cesar Casadei penalty to book a semi-final place. Here we took on German side Freiburg, where the first leg would again be on the road, and we had a game of own goals as we suffered a narrow defeat 2-1 with an own goal for each side. As has been tradition with this cup run, we dominated the return fixture in Rotherham, with Gullikson and Casadei getting on the score sheet yet again. So we'd make the Europa League final in our first try and took to the field against Spanish opposition in Real Sociedad. We started this game like a house on fire, with Muanta scoring inside the first 6 minutes to put us into the lead. The Spanish side did grow into the game, and just before the hour mark, we saw skipper Mikel Lazabal tap home from close range to make the tie all square. And that is how it stayed, forcing the game into extra time. I thought the game was destined for penalties, but with just 2 minutes of the extra 30 remaining, Sebastian Gonzalez tried his luck from range and scored the all-important goal to see us lift the Europa League trophy. This was a really fun rebuild, and we've definitely established Rotherham as a Premier League club in this world, and they will be heading into the Champions League next season, which is where you can pick up the save files. They will be posted. They are over on my Patreon. They are live right now. You can go and pick up the save and take Rotherham into the Champions League. And if you do like the rebuild content, guys, check out this playlist. It's all the rebuilds that we've done on this year's game.